not authenticated to it and creating some problems into this. So that's why I removed that person, as well as I have just didn't allow this thing to rename as well as messages. I'll allow you to speak also at the last. At that time, of course, you can ask your questions. So these are the phases of penetration testing: attack phase, and post-attack phase. Pre-attack phase, we need to plan and prepare. We need to make sure methodological designs has to be enabled, network information gathering. This is all we are doing into the pre-attack phase. In attack phase, we are doing the penetration, penetrating the parameters, acquiring targets, escalating the privileges, execution, implementations, and retracting. And post-attack phase, we are having reporting, cleanup, and artifact destructions. Now we'll talk about this last point, information security laws and standards. And then, of course, we will switch over to the practical implementation things also. So as we all know that local laws we should know before doing out any kind of information security stuffs. And also some compliances are being there, standards are being there, which we need to know. So standards are documented, established by consensus, and approved by a recognized body that provides for common and repeated use, rules, guidelines, and characteristics for activities of these results aimed at the achievement of the optimum degree of order in the given context. So the very first is PCI DSS. The PCI DSS, which is basically being used for the online transactions. Anywhere you will see that online transactions are being going on, then at that place, basically your system is working as a gateway. So it is going to be the this PCI DSS is being enabled over there. That's for sure. The PCI DSS is always being there, which is being working. So like if I talk about this Paytm, if I talk about Google Pay, they all are basically having the PCI DSS in the backend. So this is making sure that whatever information you are sharing with them of your card details, online transaction details, that will be taken considerations as a secure in the databases. It cannot be retrieved by anyone. So the PCI DSS is a proprietary information security standard for organization that handles cardholder information for major debit, credit, prepaid, e-purse, ATM, and POS cards. PCI DSS applies to all entities involved in payment card processing, including merchants, processors, acquirers, issuers, and service providers, as well as all other entities that store, process, or transmit cardholder data. So high-level overview of the PCI DSS requirement developed and maintained by Payment Card Industry Security Standards Council. And failure to meet PCI DSS requirement may result in fines or termination of payment card processing privileges. Now ISO IC 27001 and 2013, this is basically being used to establish, implement, maintain, and continually improving the information security. Means in your network, in your organization, if you want a secure and this security establishment on behalf of a compliance, and ISO IC is one of the compliance, one of the certifications which can be taken to make sure that your company is ISO standard secured. So it is intended to be suitable for different types of use, including the following. This can be used within an organization to formulate security requirements and objective, for way to ensure the security risk are cost effectively being managed. This can be used within an organization to ensure compliance with laws and regulations, definition of new information security management process, identification and clarification of existing information security management process. So multiple means whatever you are thinking about your company and the security of your company, this is basically being there. So always preferred ISO certification. That's why many times it has been seen people used to ask, do your companies are ISO certified? So when you say yes, then they used to say okay, because ultimately they want the ISO certified companies to be there. Now next is HIPAA, Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. So whenever I say that, let's take an example, you have purchased a health insurance, this health insurance from any of the company, then of course this HIPAA is working in the backend. Or maybe any person has been admitted to the hospital, whatever information they are sharing with the doctors as well as with the hospitals, that must be secure with HIPAA rules. So HIPAA, Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. This privacy rules provide federal protection for individually identified health information held by covered entities and their business associates and gives patients an array of rights with respect to that information. At the same time, the privacy rule permits the disclosure of health information needed for patient care and other important purposes. So the Office of Civil Rights implemented HIPAA. SOX is Sarbanes Auxiliary Act, enacted in 2002, basically designed to protect the investors and the public by increasing the accuracy and reliability of corporate disclosures. Like big companies are disclosing their corporate environment, their um, financial statements to the web. So how accurate it is, how reliable it is, that's what they are basically looking for. So they are being categorized into multiple titles like Title 1, Title 2, Title 3, Title 4, and they are working on their own basis. DMCA is the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, where we cannot copy anything which is copyrighted. We cannot create a copy of it. We cannot print it. We cannot alter it. So that's what the DMCA. And basically, it's a US based law, not an India based law. But yes, cyber laws in India, you can read on these websites www.ipindian.nic.in, www.gov.in. So these are the websites from which you can just visit and read the laws. So this is all about this module, the basic first module, which as I told you is just a information gathering. एक छोटा सा कि क्या होता है, क्या चीजें हैं, उसके लिए basically ये module था. Rest, yeah, I'll just share the PDFs with you all. Don't worry about it. जो भी पढ़ा रहे हैं उनके हम PDFs आपको share कर देंगे. So let's talk about few of the things now. First of all, regarding the concept of footprinting, थोड़ा सा theory part देख लेते हैं, and then we will switch over to the practical implementation of footprint. So just 1 minute, I'm sharing another presentation. HIPAA is basically working in multiple countries, not only in US. So multiple countries specifications are in this. So let's talk about footprinting and reconnaissance specification now. So that's the main thing which we have to get into, because it may require a day to complete, it may require few days to complete, it may require a month to complete, it may require I can say 6 months to complete, because footprinting is not a limit. बहुत कुछ है करने के लिए, multiple things are to be done. Like let's take an example, if IT income tax has to raid any person, then they are keeping an eye on their accounts as well as on them for around 6 months, and then only they raid. So that kind of stuff this could be, but we don't have that much of time that we can go for 6 days or 5 days for footprinting only. So of course we will talk about some of the specifications of this footprinting. So what is footprinting? A process of collecting as much as information as possible about a target organization network for identifying various ways to intrude into an organization network system. So as much as information is possible, we need to collect that. So multiple ways are being there with the help of which we have to collect. So this is the first step of any attack on information system. Attacker gather publicly available sensitive information using which he or she performs social engineering, system and network attacks, etc. that leads to huge financial loss and loss of business reputation. So just how we can get to know what type of security postures they are using. कौन सा सिक्योरिटी पॉस्चर यूज कर रहे हैं, किस टाइप की डिवाइसेस यूज कर रहे हैं सिक्योरिटी के लिए, कौन से सॉफ्टवेयर यूज कर रहे हैं, दैट्स व्हाट आई नीड टू नो. सो दैट आल्सो हेल्प मी आउट विद फुटप्रिंटिंग. Reduce focus areas. Previously I was thinking they might be using this range of IP, these subdomains, something like that, but now I have a clear understanding that what type of range they are using, what type of IP range they are using, what type of networks they are using, what type of domain they are using. That's what they are. web reduces the focus areas. Next, it also identifies the vulnerabilities. क्या vulnerabilities हो सकती हैं? What type of vulnerabilities could be over there which can be exploited? So it could give you an idea of it. I'll not say footprinting gives you the vulnerabilities, because vulnerabilities we have more things to do, because footprinting just give you the information of the startup, more precisely work on it to identify what vulnerabilities could be there. Then you are having draw network map, so it allows attackers to draw a map or a target organization network infrastructure to know about the actual environment that they are going to break. So these all are the objectives of footprints which we need to collect: network information, system information, collect organization information. So before moving to this point, I should tell you that what type of lab environment also being required. Right? क्योंकि lab environment क्या requirement है that you need to know. On VMware or VirtualBox, of course, you can create the lab of your, it's up to you. You are going to use VMware or VirtualBox. So I require a system not of Windows 10, 8 or 8.1 nowadays, Windows 10. I'll not say 11 because 11 install करने में आपके system में VMware में problem आएगी, हो सकता है slow हो जाए. So Windows 10 we require one Windows 10 system and one Kali Linux system. Two systems are normally we require right now. बाकी Windows 7 हटा दीजिए, server हटा दीजिए, Ubuntu and Android for the time being we can remove. I only want two systems, Windows 10 and Kali Linux. So either on VMware or VirtualBox you can do it. So Kali Linux is a very common one. I'll just show you from where you can download this Kali Linux, and you can just try to open and access. Just quickly, I'm just showing you. You have to type Kali download. And here you can see we have get Kali Linux. WSL will not properly work because ultimately we have to create a proper environment. So that's why WSL we don't prefer to use, because वहां पर आपको Kali मिल जाएगा, चलिए ठीक है, but Windows के रियल सिस्टम पे अटैक करेंगे, आप वायरस एग्जीक्यूट करेंगे अपने रियल सिस्टम पे. So you will never execute a virus on your real system. That's why we prefer to create a virtual environment completely to make it proper. So WSL, that's why I don't prefer. If you just generally want to use Linux operating system, then of course WSL is perfect to use. But Kali, first of all, your antivirus will remove a lot of tools from Kali automatically as soon as you will do it on WSL. So either you can manually download the ISO image and install, it's up to you. Completely download it and install, or you can just go for the virtual machines based. So you can see these are the pre-installed images of VMware, VirtualBox, Hyper-V. Just download, extract, and use. And if you want the more detail about this, I'm sharing one link with you of the video which you can watch. And of course, you can just work on it. I have made my own in my own channel, so that whenever requirement is being there, and because I face a lot of time this problem that people used to say कि हमें करना नहीं आ रहा है. Persistence USB, Raghav, I don't prefer, because ultimately whatever I have to save over there, I will not be able to save. That's why I don't prefer to use the persistence USB. Persistence USB live you can run, but the problem is where do you get the Windows? So that's the biggest problem which we are always facing. So that's why I prefer to use a installed version of it into virtual machines, not on the real system, of course. Just 1 minute, I'm sharing the link with you from where you can just, of course, see how we can do it. So I've sharing it on the chat box. This is a link to the video where you can identify, and in this series only, if you will go, इसकी playlist में जाएंगे, और भी playlist है इसमें, playlist में जाएंगे तो आपको installation वाला part मिल जाएगा, how to install Kali Linux into your system. So if you visit this channel, you will get to know how to install it also. Or this is a link from where you can how to download, then extract and use the Kali Linux. वो मैंने इसमें बताया हुआ है, तो एक बार पढ़ के देख लीजिएगा कि कैसे करना है. अगर ना आता हो तो इंस्टॉल करना है तो भी आप इस चैनल पे जाकर के you can have a video where you can get the how to install. So let's move on. These are requirement are being there, and now we will switch over to this objectives of footprinting. and we will start working on the footprints. So I'm not getting into the theory now because already 1 hour we have devoted on the theory. So I'll switch over now to the practical implementations of the thing. Some of the information which we have to get for from our CMD based thing, then of course website. All this we are going to talk about. So let's open CMD of Windows and just talk about how to work on this some commands on CMD. So if I'll say the very first command, which is ipconfig. Now you must be wondering why I am talking about the ipconfig command. It's a very common command and most of the people, most of the student participants, professionals, they all know that this command is basically being used to see the IP address. इस command का simple use the IP address का. But how many of you used to see your IP address? आप में से कितने लोग IP address देखते हैं? Rarely anyone see. What we prefer is, I have got the wireless in my range. I have seen that yes, SSID of the wireless is being broadcasted. It's showing my wireless, and I clicked on the wireless and finally connected. What I used to see is internet chal raha hai ki nahi chal raha hai. If internet is working, then of course I don't take care of what IP I have got. But when I talk about the organizations, when I talk about the global means places, means open places where you are sitting and opening their own open Wi-Fi's, at that place, this kind of attack is possible, which is known as DSCP starvation attack. What is DSCP starvation attack? Where attacker attack on the DSCP server, which provides us the IP address, and then try to lure all the packets from there. So it will try to lure all the packets, all the communication from there. This one. No, I am not going to allow to rename because many people are playing with the rename. So just please, you can write your name on the chat box. We will take care of who you are. Okay, we'll take you from this because we have seen one of the person was playing with this renaming. That's why I stopped. Or I'm just allowing you for 1 minute. Just rename yourself. Yeah, you can rename. You have opened right now. I have opened, if you're talking about the application, I am just opening the CMD. It's a normal CMD which I have opened. So just you have to go to run and type CMD. And second query, what was there? Let me check. I have a query about disk management. Yeah, please, Afzal, you can write what's the query about the disk management. Okay, so let him write. In the meanwhile, let me tell you. This is what I was talking about. That ipconfig is going to show you the IP. If any DSCP starvation attack has been done on DSCP server, maybe they are using some fake communications over there, means fake DSCP server to allow to you get the IP address. In that case, it's basically ipconfig, which has to be taken care of. So I'll just simply type ipconfig, and here you can see we got the IP address, and I get to know that this is the IP address which has been given to my system. But again, not a detailed version of it. So for getting the detailed version, I'll type ipconfig/all. This is going to help me out to get the complete detail about the IP address, even the MAC address and everything into it. So I'll add pipe more so that I can see properly. You can see. Now, when I got the IP address at 1654.22, means 454.22 on 1st March, This is my IP address. This is my subnet mask. That's my default gateway from which I am routing my network. That's my DNS server, because right now what I'm using is I'm using my mobile phone network to connect. So that's what they are basically showing you in this way. So this is very important to know how many means what IP we are getting to get to know that this is a real IP or from fake something I am getting. Our next command is a very common command, which again we are using for the common scenarios, which is ping. Ping and just any of the IP or website to get to know, are we able to communicate with it? Are we able to communicate over the internet? So I'm just using certifiedhacker.com over here. And you can see, yes, I will be able to communicate with this certifiedhacker.com. So perfect. But now I also want to know one more thing over here, which is how can what the maximum packet size this certifiedhacker.com supports or any of the website supports. Because we all know that we are sending packets. Right now, how many bytes of packet I am sending over there or fragment I am sending over there? 32 bytes. And I got the reply of 32 bytes. But now if I have to send more, bigger packet, what's the maximum bigger packet or frame I can send to that server? I need to know. So for that, I'm going to use the option. So why I'm doing this first of all? Because I need to know that if any kind of this DOS attack has to be performed, that what's the size we are going to send over there. And this is a size without the without header size, because header is also being added into it. So I'm going to use -f and -l, L for fragment and F for length. So F for fragment and L for length. I'll give 65,535, which is a maximum size which has been prescribed by RFC 791. So RFC 791 has prescribed that the maximum packet size which will be accepted is 65,535, including the header. Header will not be excluded over it, it's including the header. Like whenever you send any kind of courier, then at the top you write the information to and from. That is basically the header which I'm talking about. So here also we have header. When we are sending any packet, it goes over there. So of course it is having the information like IP, MAC, and whatever it is. So that is containing some of the, like ICMP is having 8 bytes and IP is having 20 bytes of header, 28 bytes. So right now 28 bytes are going as a header. So it will be 65,535 plus 28, which will be go beyond the range. Okay. Afzal, I'll answer your question after some time. Let me first complete this. Why do we use ping command? Ping command is basically being used to first check the communication over the web. Are we able to communicate to any specific, maybe over web or local system, doesn't matter. So I'm going to check packet internet gopher is basically the full form. And I'm checking, are we able to communicate with any specific system or IP or any website? Because when my Internet Explorer, if I type www.google.com and it's not working, first preference is just typing the ping and the website to get to know whether are we able to resolve the IPs. So ping is having multi other, like I from the second command which I am checking is that what's the maximum frame size it supports. So it says that this is not a valid packet size. You must have between 0 to 65,500, because with this packet, it's also header will be added. So I'll say, okay, not an issue. Just give 500. It says packets need to be fragmented but DF set. Means I have sent 65,500 bytes, but it's not being accepted. It says these number of bytes are not accepted to be used. All the packets has been lost over here. All the 4 packets has been lost. So let's make it a little bit lesser. I need to check what's the maximum size. मैं फिर से बता दूं, अगर आपको समझ में नहीं आया, मैं ये चेक कर रहा हूं कि वो सर्वर कितना बड़ा पैकेट एक्सेप्ट कर सकता है, और पैकेट्स का साइज बाइट्स में होता है। 32 बाइट्स हम ऑलरेडी पिंग के थ्रू सेंड कर रहे थे, उसने एक्सेप्ट किया। जब मैंने मैक्सिमम साइज 65,535 का सेंड किया तो उसने बोला एक्सेप्टेड नहीं है, बिकॉज जो पैकेट भेजते हैं उसके साथ हेडर भी जाता है, और यहाँ पर हेडर 28 बाइट्स का करंटली है, आईपी एंड आईसीएमपी का। तो मैंने 65,500 जो अलाउड साइज था दैट आई हैव सेंड, बट इट सेज कि एक्सेप्टेड नहीं है। फिर मैंने 2000 सेंड किया, अगेन इट सेज एक्सेप्टेड नहीं है। सो नाउ आई एम गोइंग टू मेक इट लेसर देन दैट, मे बी 1500। Again it says not being accepted. I'll say okay, 1400. Yes, 1400 bytes when I'm sending over there, I got the reply. But it not exactly the 1400 bytes. So I'll just make it 1450 maybe. That's also being accepted. If I'll make it 1470, that's also accepted. If I'll make it 75, it's not accepted. 74, 73, 72. Yes, so maximum frame size which has been supported by certifiedhacker.com is 1472 bytes. 1472 bytes are the maximum fragment size. तो अगर हमें डॉस अटैक परफॉर्म करना है तो हमें इससे बड़ा मैसेज जो है वो भेजना पड़ेगा। आई हैव टू सेंड बिगर मैसेज देन दिस ऑफ। सो खैर वो तो बात की बात है, डॉस अटैक, व्हाट इज डॉस अटैक एंड हाउ टू परफॉर्म, दैट विल टेक इन लेटर ऑन. This is how we are going to use the ping command, just to identify whether we can connect with that website or not. And most of the website you will get from this only. You can do it from anywhere, because ज़्यादातर 1500 बाइट से वैसे ही लेती हैं, तो ये 28 बाइट्स का हेडर लेकर के 1500 बाइट्स ही जाएगा. Now next command which I am going to use is tracert. Tracert and ping both uses ICMP protocol. दोनों ICMP प्रोटोकॉल का यूज करते हैं, इंटरनेट कंट्रोल मैसेज प्रोटोकॉल. Tracert is basically being used to identify how many hops or how many routers we have to cross to reach to the specific server और स्पेसिफिक वेबसाइट. कितने राउटर्स, कितने नेटवर्क्स हमें क्रॉस करना है, कितने हॉप्स को क्रॉस करना है टू रीच टू दैट स्पेसिफिक वेबसाइट, दैट्स व्हाट आई नीड टू नो. सो आई टाइप ट्रेसर्ट एंड certifiedhacker.com. So it will start showing me the traces route. So maximum 30 hops it's doing, but that's a default case. If you want more than that, then of course you can try. You can just type tracert space -h space number of hops and then it. So by default it's a 30 hops, and most of the time we are getting the answers within this. Okay, till the time it is going on, let me tell you the this thing. Afzal, usually this thing will not happen. अगर आपने extend किया है, if you're extending it, then of course there's no issues into it, because I did also multiple time this thing. It's not this kind of issue. There should be, there must be some issue has happened within that. That's why this might has happened. Because normally ये चीज नहीं होती है कि आपने increase किया और ऐसा हो जाए. In unless or until your disk is in dynamic phase. अगर dynamic में, then it could happen. But if it is in the basic environment, then of course you can decrease from any of this, or maybe it was in an extended and a primary kind of concept will be there. Your C drive will be primary, and your E drive will be from logical. So logical always comes from the extended, and that could also create a problem. In that case, it would be a problem. तो उस केस में प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है. तो ये दो ही वे हैं जिसकी वजह से प्रॉब्लम होगी. CMD is command line interface, command prompt. आपको रन पे जाना है, लिखना है CMD, go to run and type CMD and you will get the command prompt. Normally, whatever commands we type it on command prompt or PowerShell. In today's world, we are also getting the PowerShell in our Windows, where we can type the commands as well as some scripts And CMDs, of course, from start it is coming. The tracert has been completed and we have got 18 hops. Total 18 hops it took to reach over there. So you can see there are some timers also, 2 millisecond, 2 millisecond, 2 millisecond, 182, 198, 198. These are known as RTT, round trip time. When the packet goes over there and comes back, when the packet goes over there and comes back, then in that case, this RTT will be counted. How much time it took to go over there and come back. उसे बोलते हैं हम लोग RTT, round trip time. So 18 hops it took, and you can see these are the IPs from which it is basically being going through. Right. So you can see this is what it is showing. And last one is box5331.bluehost.com, which is a reverse domain of certifiedhacker.com. So अगर मैं main domain की बात करूँ, reverse domain की बात करूँ, तो it's box5331.bluehost.com. So I got a few questions, direct messages. Please do not do a direct message. Always make it for everyone so that they will get to know what you are asking. So one question is, what's the difference between CMD and PowerShell? Huge difference. PowerShell are having some PS scripts which can be used to do some admin level tasks as well as to run the scripts also. We can create the scripts also on PowerShell and run. Whereas CMD is for the normal command. PowerShell commands cannot be run on CMD, but CMD commands can be run on PowerShell. तो CMD में सिस्टम कमांड्स ही रन करते हैं, तो वो बेसिकली आप आराम से रन कर सकते हैं CMD में भी, PowerShell में भी. बट PowerShell के जो CMD लेट्स होते हैं ना, CMD लेट्स बोलते हैं, that cannot be run on CMD, and they are very powerful. PowerShell is very powerful nowadays. We can do anything from the PowerShell, all the system admin tasks, all kind of scripts, etc. We can work on it. Tree command, basically we are not here to study the CMD, but if you have asked, let me tell you, tree command is basically being used to see the tree structure of directories. कि कौन सी directory के अंदर क्या है, ये information देखने के लिए we use tree command. Yes, hops, I am letting you know again. Hops are basically the number of routers or number of networks, because this must be one of the router or network basically, or I can say one of the server. So इसके बाद ये तो मेरा gateway के बाद this IP, on this IP my this network goes. Then on this IP it goes. So number of routers हैं जो cross करने हैं, number of systems हैं बीच में जो उन्हें cross करने हैं. Then you can see at the 7th level it goes to Airtel. I'm using Airtel ISP right now on my phone. So 7th और 8th पे Airtel को cross किया. फिर finally ये Airtel के network से बाहर गया है. And 18th में it got to this one. So this is how this is being used. Reverse domain means whenever you are talking about any of the domains, I hope you all know what is domain. www.google.com is a domain. www.facebook.com is a domain. But this domain has been purchased by any organization who sells the domain. उनसे purchase किया गया है. Real domains backend पे जब हम servers create करते हैं, either on Azure, AWS or any of the me servers, they automatically get a name server over there. They automatically give a domain name over there. So उस domain name को हम bind करते हैं real domain, whatever domain we have purchased उसके साथ. जब आप कभी बैकएंड डोमेन देखते हो, रिवर्स डोमेन देखते हो, तो यू विल ऑलवेज गेट दैट डोमेन व्हिच इज द रियल डोमेन एट द बैकग्राउंड. जैसे आप कभी अमेज़न की मशीन बनाएंगे तो आप देखेंगे EC2-something something we got the domain. So that is a reverse domain. Like I have connected it with the www.abc.com. So abc.com is a domain which we are seeing, but in the backend main domain which is running is EC2-something something something which we are accessing. These all are the reverse domain only. NSG Corporation, they must be having some other name also, but they are the reverse domain for the time being. They might be a www.airtel.in, but right now in the reverse they have got this. So this is tracert. We got 30 hops. In 18 hops we got the answer, but sometimes if you will not get the answer in 30 hops, what you can do is you can define your own number of hops. So -H, I'll say 50 hops I have to check, 15 networks I have to check, 15 steps I have to go to check the location. So you can see now it's checking on 50 hops, but I'll not do it because already I'm कर चुके हैं. Control C press करेंगे simple. Now after tracert, I'll go to the next command which is related to the information of our system. अपने सिस्टम की इंफॉर्मेशन ग्रैब, अपने नेटवर्क्स की इंफॉर्मेशन ग्रैब करने के लिए, बिकॉज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इज नेटवर्क. हाउ मच नेटवर्क we are network connections we are having, on what port it has been connected, I need to know. So this all things has to be grabbed over here. So for that I'm going to use a command net stat -ano. बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट कमांड है. अगर मालवेयर भी आपके सिस्टम से कनेक्ट है, you can get to know about that. So net stat space -ano is basically being used to see all the connected hosts from my system from a remote location and their port number also. So let's press enter. Now I can see the local address and foreign address and their status of listening PID. So that I don't have to take care of for the time being. I'll go for these, which are from the IP. These now. So you can see most of them are being connected on 443. The established the connections are. And you can see also we have certain PIDs in the next of it. So I can see these two IPs are from the same communication, the same process. These two are from the same process. Then these three are from the same process, these three IPs. So as I am using Zoom in backend, I am using Microsoft services. So they all are belonging to that. Like if you want to get to know about any of the IP, simply copy the IP. And I'll go to a website. bgp.he.net. So right now you can see I'm accessing this meeting or this system right now from the Bharti Airtel Limited AS for GPRS services. And now I'll paste over here and we'll search. Now this IP, it has nothing to show over here, but if I click on who is, this IP belongs to Kaspersky Lab contact role. So in the backend, of course, I'm having a Kaspersky installed into my system, and it is basically Kaspersky must be updating in the backend. So it's of the Kaspersky Lab only that IP belongs to. So all the three IPs which was being shown over there, they all belongs to Kaspersky company only, because maybe the backend Kaspersky update is going on, or they're scanning the something. So that's what it is. So you can get to know from Hurricane Electric Services. This is a very, very important website to be known. So just copy the IP and identify which company this IP belongs to. So NetStat, of course, help us out in this kind of, maybe you are getting somewhere a local IP over here and a local port. So you can get to know that yes, someone from the local network of yours is being connected to your system, maybe via sharing of the data, maybe via HTTP or maybe any other port. So that also get inform us that yes, something is going on into your system, something malicious they are trying to do onto your system, or they want to access something from your system. So this is netstat-ano, which help me out to identify how many connections are being established from our system and or what port it has been established. Now, before moving to the next one, you should know about what is DNS and what are the domains, because ultimately, unless or until you will not get about the domains, then it's of no use to get to know about the things. Just 1 minute, I'm sharing that slide with you. And then we will talk about the next command. Pipe more, when I have added pipe more, actually means that we have to see the page wise detail. Because if I'll not add a pipe is basically to send the output of one command to the output of another command. So let's move on and talk about the DNS footprinting first of all. So attacker can gather DNS footprinting to determine key host in the network and can perform social engineering attacks. Now, Farhan, I think then I have to ask Priyanka ma'am to once give a session on networking first of all, because this is a cyber security and I cannot get into the all the IPs, because if you don't know about the IPs, then I have to go from the scratch for the IPs. So I'll of course ask Priyanka so that she can make one small session for the IP address for you all, because this is a small session on cyber security of just 10 hours. So in that I cannot switch over to the IP address. We always, if anyone is doing this kind of SDP, we think that they know about the IP address and the networks, and then only they are doing it. Not an issue. I'll just ask because right now I cannot get into it because it's a lengthy topic. I can say around 30, 35 minutes, 40, 45 minutes around I have to devote on to get to know everything about the IP address. So DNS, as we all know, DNS is basically being used to identify name, changing IP to name and name to IP. When I'm typing a domain www.facebook.com or google.com, then over the web, no names goes. Only IPs are going. So who converts name to IP? It's a DNS who converts name to IP, right? So it's basically DNS which converts name to IP and IP to name, reverse of it. So there are certain record types which are being created into the DNS. Like we have A record, MX record, NS record. So now we need to, yes, DNS is also having internal DNS, external DNS, but that we don't have to get into right now. We just have to get into the record types. What type of records are being created into the DNS? So A record, MX record, NSC name, SOS, RV, PTR, RP, Hinfo, TXT. These kind of records are being there, which we have to analyze. What type of records has been made? Like if I say A record, so it points to the host IP address, means name to IP. When I am typing www.google.com and I want to get the IP address, I'll go for the A record. And if I'm typing the IP of google.com and pressing enter, then I'm just asking for the reverse domain, and that can be get with the help of PTR. MX record is mail server, because as we know, most of the domains are nowadays having the mail servers also embedded into it. So that's what MX record is basically being used for the mail servers. That what type of mail servers have this record has been created. Then next is NS record, name server record. Name server means changing the basic servers, main servers, which are at the backend. That's what we need to know. CNAME is a chronicle name, short names. Short names which has been created that we need to know. So short names, like if you ever type www.fb.com and press enter, automatically Facebook page will be open. It will be redirected to the www.facebook.com. So when this kind of stuff will be there, it's basically a CNAME record has been created. SO is start of authority. Start of authority, which is having records like expiry records, creation records, when this cache will be cleared, what's the TTL on the web of this domain, all these records will be in SOA. SRV service record, which are only being created when we are using Active Directory services. RP, Hinfo, and TXT will not get normally being used. So let's move on and talk about the next thing, which is DNS based scenarios, DNS based information gathering. So for this, I'm going to use NS lookup over here. So NS lookup, just press enter. And now you can see it's saying that we have an unknown server, not an issue because it's just using its local IP as a DNS server. I'll type set type is equal to A. I'm setting the type is equal to A record, and I'll give certified hacker.com. So I need to know what's the IP address of certified hacker.com. That's why I just type set type is equal to A, pressed enter, and just given certified hacker.com. So it gave me the answer that name is certified hacker.com and address is 162.241.216.11. So this IP has been reverted as certified hacker.com. If I type over here set type is equal to PTR, reverse of IP. I need to know what's the reverse domain of certifiedhacker.com or what's the real domain at the this IP. And if I type 162.241.216.11, you can see it is showing the name is box5331.bluehost.com. That's the real name which they are having. As I have shown you in this tracert command also, that this is a name which they are having. If I type over here MX record, I type certifiedhacker.com. Now I need to check, do certifiedhacker.com has any kind of mail servers also? It says yes. The mail server is mail.certifiedhacker.com. So that's what the mail server we are having in certifiedhacker.com. In the same way, if you will check for Google, it will say mail.google.com is basically a server. I'll just go for CNAME. I type www.fb.com. That was the chronicle name of fb.com. It says when you type fb.com, the chronicle name which it resolves to is www.facebook.com. So this is how I have got these kind of outputs when I was searching for any specific record type. So whatever record type has been given except those last three one, you can just try out and get it. अगर आप last के तीन छोड़ दें RP and hinfo and txt, rest all record you will get over here. So let's do exit. This is how we have to identify. And finally, I'm showing you the history of it. So I type dosky/history. So these all commands I have used over here for the footprinting purpose. Multiple things I have got. First, I need to know what's my IP address, in which range I am right now in, so that later on when I scan, I get to know what IPs I am having, or I need to check, am I getting the right IP address from the DHCP server. Then I check the ping command to identify whether I can connect to the remote location, remote server or not. Then ping -f-l size to identify whether what's the maximum frame size this particular server supports. Then tracert command to get to know how many hops or routers or networks it has to cross. netstat-ano to get to know how many connections are being established or created from my system to remote location or remote location to my system. Then NSLOOKUP I have used to get to know the domain details, where we are using set type is equal to whatever record type, and accordingly we are giving the answers. So these few commands I have used. Now I'll switch over to some of the websites. We're also running out of me 20 minutes are only being left. So I'll just go to the browser. So first website which I'm going to visit, beside that there's one of the story I can say, or the case which has happened. So once I was traveling towards my office and I got a call. When I picked up the call, from the second side the girl was saying, sir, I'm calling from shopforfuntoyou.com. किसी shopforfuntoyou.com से कॉल कर रही थी. मैंने पूछा, मैम, how do you got my number? First, she said, sir, good morning. I said, good morning. She said, sir, sir, your number has been selected as a top 10 lucky numbers, and we are providing you Honda Amaze car. Then I asked her, ma'am, how do you got my number? She said, sir, you have purchased Kaspersky Internet Security from Flipkart in February 2018, and from there we got the number. The information was right. I have purchased Kaspersky at that time. So I said, ma'am, how do you, could you call me after half an hour because I just arrived to office? She said, okay, ma'am. Okay, sir, I'll call you after half an hour. Then I started getting the information about her. After half an hour, I again got the call. She said, sir, I'm calling from sir, softwarefrontier.com. You said to call me after half an hour. I said, yes, ma'am. Could you tell me how many years your website is working? She said, sir, our website is working from last 2 years. Then I gave the information to her, ma'am, your website is just 1 month back up, and even your domain has been registered on the name of Mr. Kapil Chaudhary, who resides in New Delhi. And his contact number and email ID is this. As soon as I gave the information to her, she said, okay, just a moment, sir, and put my call on mute, and finally given the call to someone else after 30 seconds. The person said, sir, thank you for the information, but it doesn't mean we are fake. I said, I haven't said you are fake. I was just giving you the information, whatever I have observed. Then we talked about few more things. And then finally he said, sorry, sir, and cut down the phone. So this is how the things was happened. And that's what the I can say the thing was there. So how do I got this information? I used one of the website, which is Netcraft. Netcraft.com. Now this website also help you to defend with the phishing attacks. I'll go for resources, and in resources we have research tools. And you can see we have around 5 research tools for the time being, in which I'm going to use 2 of them. One is site report, second is search DNS. So I just click on search DNS first of all, because I want to explore the host name visited by users of the Netcraft extension and search by domain or keyword. So I'll just click on this. I need to know how many subdomains does EC Council is having. So I'll type in the host name as ecouncil.org. So you can see 35 subdomains ecouncil.org domain is having. Like whenever you type www.google.com, google.com is a main domain and www is a subdomain of it. You type mail.google.com. So mail is a subdomain and google.com is of course a main domain. So that's what you can see. We have host names matching ecouncil.org. 35 results it has got like code.ecouncil, spen.ecouncil, cyberq.ecouncil, iClass.ecouncil. And when it was first seen, that's also it is showing you. Who is a NetBlock owner? That's also it is showing you. The OS is Linux, and we can see the site report from here. I'll go for another one also over here, which is Netcraft. This certified hacker. Certified hacker.com. Now I can see 6 results we have got, and it shows that certifiedhacker.com has first in December 2002. It's basically NetBlock owner's unified layer. Linux is a OS, and I can also click over here in the site report and directly move to the site report. But I'll not do this. I'll go back to tools and I click on site report. And here I'm going to give https://certifiedhacker.com. So now here we have the details. So it says site title is not acceptable. Date first seen is January 2018. Why the big difference? When I searched over here in this one, it was showing December 2002. But when I used over here, it is showing January 2018. So I'll let you know why the difference. What's the site ranking? What's the primary language? Description, site, domain, NetBlock owner, name server, domain registrar, everything has been given. What's the IP address? So all these informations has been seen over here. Now, what's the IP delegations, IP geolocation, and SSL TLS details. So these all details I can see. Now, I was checking over here HTTPS. So I thought let's check for HTTP also. So I'll type http://certifiedhacker.com. So now you can see it is showing December 2002 as a first seen date. So it means from December 2002 to January 2008, it was basically 18, I think 18. It was running on HTTPS. It was working on HTTP, sorry. And from January 2018, it started working on HTTPS. So never ever always believe on HTTPS. Cross-check both HTTP and HTTPS both. And then accordingly, you will get to know the details. So now I got the perfect output. Everything is same, exactly same. Only the difference will be we don't have SSL TLS over here because it's running on HTTP. So this is how you can get. One more thing, like if you can open any of the website, like if I type over here certifiedhacker.com, Then I'm having an extension which has also been installed over here. You can see. So you can simply install an extension. It is Mozilla Firefox. Different way we are having in that Chrome, but somehow you have to just search. Click on these three dots. Go to add-ons and themes. In the same way, there also you're going to have some add-ons. Just search over here, NetGraph. Automatically, it will take you to add-ins.mozilla.com. And here we have the add-ins. Right now it says remove because I'm already added to it. Now I have to click on add and automatically it will be added. So in my case, I'm already having added one. You can click over here on this extension and you can see it is showing site report. It's US based site. Site ranking is 9150, January 2018 first in because I'm running HTTPS and unified layer. And if you think this website is malicious, then you can simply click on add a region, give the region why you think, submit report. They will cross check at the backend with their team and everyone. If they found it malicious, then next time when you try to open this website, they will say this is a malicious site. We will not allow you to open this if the extension is installed. And if you want to see the site report, directly click on it. It will take you to the site report page. So this extension helped me out to get these kind of information. And here you can see we got all the information. Right? So now it's time to ask your question because we are just left with around 10 to 12 minutes. Just ask your question and then we will wind up the session for today. Make sure you are going to have this Kali installed by tomorrow because Kali is required. I have also shared the link with you at how we can get the live Kali into our system or how we can install the Kali. If you visit that this page, this YouTube page, you will get multiple other tutorials are also being there. But for the time being, you can just search for what is Kali. So of course, this is my videos only, so you can search and get into this this video and identify how to work on it, right? Because I want it should be done by till tomorrow, so that if I'll give you some time to work on, you can also try to work on this thing. Any questions you are having, please write it on the chat box. And because for today, I'll keep this much of part only. I'll not get into beyond this. We're not left with too much of time. We are just starting it. So of course, as you have already seen, we are on the module reconnaissance or information gathering. So of course, the reconnaissance module, information gathering module, we are right now into. And tomorrow we will also work on the same module, reconnaissance and information gathering. Day after tomorrow, we'll talk about the scanning phase. And then we will talk about the attack vectors, gathering access and maintaining access. So these are the pre-attack phase which we are talking about. Any other questions you are having? You can please let me. Netcraft website, why we are using that, I already told you. We are going to get the information about any website, when it was first seen, when the domain was registered, all these details I need to check. For that, I am using it. When not the domain, I'll say, but yeah, the website is when up, what type of IP they are having, what type of domain registrations they are having. That is all we need to know. Many things, as I have already given you an example before doing it. And I got a call and the girl was saying that I'm calling from this website and you got a lucky number. I asked her, how do you got my number? And how many years your website is running? She said 2 years. I need to know. It's a new website. It clearly means that they are just trying to lure us. If you are already using the Kali, then of course that's perfect. You can use the same. Net block means a group of network. What type of network block you are using? What type of network group you are using? So that's a net block. Of course, you can connect, but it's not preferable that we should go for the server to be connected via DHCP because server must have a fixed IP address that's always being preferred. सर्वर के फिक्स्ड आईपी एड्रेस होने चाहिए, हमेशा प्रेफर किया जाता है, इसलिए सर्वर को डीएचसीपी से कनेक्ट नहीं करते हैं। And we prefer to make a fixed IP address on this server without using DHCP. You can connect, that's not a big deal. So if no issues, you can disconnect yourself. For today, we'll keep this much apart. Tomorrow, of course, some more websites, and then we will switch over to Kali Linux part, that how we can use some tools on Kali Linux and how we can work on those tools. How to install some tools also. That so tomorrow, I think it's a morning session. We'll connect in the morning, and then we'll continue with the next part of it. I'll ask Priyanka ma'am to share the details with you. I'll share it, don't worry. Just give me 1 or 2 days time. Let me fix it up and then I'll share with you. Don't worry. PPTs also. So I'm here for 2 or 3 more minutes. If you have any issues, attendance will be taken from the this Zoom itself. So that's why I used to say log in with your email as well as name properly. Then we automatically maintain attendance from here. We don't take any attendance manually now. Okay, then we're ending the session over here. We'll meet tomorrow in the morning time. We'll continue with the next part.